What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. We are taking a first look at NFL futures this offseason, player-based futures, player props on a season-long perspective. To do it with me, Nick Lepri is here on Twitter at Notorious Fantasy. Nick, I'm really excited to start looking at these props. The markets are open, and we're kind of taking our first look here. I'm excited, man. How are you?
I'm doing great today. I think that we will probably be doing this video multiple times throughout the offseason as Prize Picks continues to give us a couple of more lines. But right now, what we're looking at, I am very excited to talk about this. And if you guys are fantasy football players as well as bettors, these things basically coincide together. And one of those, you ever seen that handshake meme people put on Twitter? That's what it is, a nice handshake between fantasy as well as gambling here when we're talking about this. So I'm very excited to talk about these picks today. And let's hope we can make some cash today or in the
Yeah, it
future,
absolutely
technically.
is. And these are lines you want to hit early. They will move throughout the offseason. So hopefully we can uncover a little bit of an edge here. But Prize Picks is the daily sponsor. They are going to be the platform we are using today for all these props. If you've never heard of Prize Picks, they offer daily prop-based contests. There's no sharks, no optimizers, no mass entries. You can create up to 5-player lineups where you can win 10 extra entry fee and use your knowledge across multiple sports. We're talking NFL today, but that's not all they offer. And better yet, if you use the promo code Awesemo, you are going to get a $100 match deposit bonus for Prize Picks. So make sure to check them out. And we are giving you 5 today. Nick, you ready to get started here?
Let's do it.
All right. So I have quarterbacks up now. We're actually going to start with the wide receiver position. So we're going over to receiving yards. Correct me if I'm wrong. One of your favorite props this offseason is Tyreek Hill over 1,100 and a half receiving yards this season. He obviously makes a transition to Miami, so he's going into a new offense with Tua Tagovailoa. Jalen Waddle's already there. But my first glance, I saw this being a little low. Which way are you leaning on this prop?
Yeah, for me, now I am a Dolphins fan, but I do think that Tyreek Hill is going to go over on the number. People will point that out, people who know who I am, but I think that he is easily going to go over 1,100 and a half receiving yards. He has done that in 4 of 6 seasons. I understand that, Nick, that's in Kansas City. That's with Patrick Mahomes, but even Tyreek Hill himself pointed out yesterday that he was doing good with Matt Moore, and he said Tua Tagovailoa is 10 Matt Moores. So, if Tyreek Hill was able to perform with Matt Moore, if he's able to perform with these other quarterbacks that are not Patrick Mahomes, then to me, it should really be a no-brainer that Tyreek Hill is going to succeed in Miami. And as long as he doesn't get banged up, there's really no reason to believe that he can't go over 1,100 and a half receiving yards. He's done it when he's played in 15 games. So I don't necessarily think he needs to play all 17 in order to do it. Now, the Miami Dolphins are going to be a significantly more run-heavy team compared to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think even with that said, the Dolphins are going to design so many plays to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. And I think the line should be closer to maybe 1,200. I think that it's a little low where it's set at right now. So I think Tyreek Hill is going to smash 1,100 and a half receiving yards.
Yeah, I would probably set this at like 1,250. So I think Tyreek is significantly underpriced. When you just look at the offense as a whole, they returned Jalen Waddle, but they still have 183 vacated targets, and 172 of those came from the wide receiver position. So even if you project a small step forward for Waddle, there is plenty of volume here for Tyreek Hill to eat himself. And, last year he got there on 159 targets. To your point, he's done that on less targets already 3 different times in his career. And the other the other seasons, he did not play the full time, just 12 games in 2019. And then his rookie season, 2016, we know the player he developed into. He was not a full-time player that year. So I like Tyreek Hill a bunch here. I think this is one of the more underpriced props you're going to find in this particular market. But I'm going to give you one of my favorites now moving forward, and it's at the running back position. So we're making a slight pivot here. It's Antonio Gibson. He's a player right now listed at 1,050 and a half yards. He's kind of had a rough offseason. The team almost lost J.D. McKissic. Buffalo tried to sign him. He ends up getting enticed back to Washington, and they draft Brian Robinson with pretty decent draft capital. Antonio Gibson actually hasn't been very efficient when you look at yards after contact and forced missed tackles, despite the hype he's received in his career. Now the offseason moves to me just scream 3-back committee. Where are you at on Antonio Gibson this offseason?
Yeah, Antonio Gibson is one of my favorite picks as well, leaning towards the under. He went under last year, went under in his rookie year. And like you said, this is going to potentially be a nasty committee for Antonio Gibson, where he is going to be basically screwed. And his ADP in fantasy football has reflected that. His ADP, he was like a second round pick last year, right? Now he's going outside the top 5 rounds. People in fantasy are adjusting. The books don't appear to be adjusting because 1,050 rushing yards seems like a lot for a guy that could be getting a lot of his opportunity potentially stolen. And I just don't think that this is going to be a very good Washington team that is going to be able to run the ball a lot. Maybe Antonio Gibson could get 1,400 all purpose yards, 1,500 all purpose yards. But that counts the receiving yards, right? I just don't see him rushing over 1,050 rushing yards. I honestly think this is one of the better bets here over on Prize Picks, and I feel very comfortable with the under.
Yeah, ultimately it comes down to he needs not one, but two injuries to end up going over this because JD McKissic, while rushing's not his main priority, he siphons off a few carries here and there too. And with a
Yeah.
runner specifically, this is more of a macro trend for running backs. Typically, I'm going to try to look for unders as long as they're not egregious because the running back position typically gets injured at a higher rate than receivers and even quarterbacks. So these
Mhm.
guys might be priced to play, like over 3/4 of the season, and some of them are going to miss a lot more time than that. Even a player like Derrick Henry missed his props solely because of injury last year. And Antonio Gibson, he hasn't necessarily been the healthiest player to start his career. But I think you could also use that argument for the second player at the running back position. Looks like someone you really like in Dalvin Cook. Right now, he's listed at 1,300 and a half yards. This is another one that you were looking at towards the under. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that is correct. I definitely like the under on Dalvin Cook again. The number is 1,300 and a half. He has hit 1,300 and a half once in his career in 2020, which just so happens to be the season in which he played the most games of his career, tied with 2019 with 14 total games played. Now, I'm not a doctor. I will never claim to be a doctor, but I do know one thing about Dalvin Cook, and that this guy is good friends with the nurses at the hospital by Minnesota. He is hurt all of the time. And the fact that I think that if he just misses like 3, 4 games, he's definitely going under on the rushing yard total. Dalvin Cook is a sneaky not a receiving running back, right? That's not where he eats all that, gets all the points from, does a lot with, but he does get a decent amount of receptions. So I think seeing him go under 1,300 shouldn't really surprise anyone. He's only gone over that number once, and that was his best season by far in 2020. This is a Minnesota Vikings team that, based upon the coaching changes they have made, could potentially be a lot more pass heavy compared to the past and the regime that was in Minnesota with Dalvin Cook through his whole career starting in 2017. I don't necessarily expect them to just be this crazy pass heavy offense, but even if they slightly increase the amount they're passing, that could really hurt Dalvin Cook's potential in terms of rushing yards. So 1,300 and a half just seems a little too high for a guy who just seems to always be getting hurt. So I definitely like the under here.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of hard to hear, but Dalvin Cook is going to be 27 this year. The decline may have already started. You look at yards after contact per attempt. In 2020, he was at 3.3. Last year, he drops to 2.7. Forced missed tackles also fell with that. It's tough to hear players at age 27 at the running back position maybe nearing the end, but it is truly the end of the road for the absolute prime for some of these players. So right now, he's kind of priced at that prime, and I think he might be a little closer to the cliff than some people are indicating. Anything else to add with Cook?
Yeah, again, just want to reiterate the fact that I really do think that they're going to be a little bit more pass heavy. And I think that a lot of the argument for why Dalvin Cook could go over is because they run the ball so much. I don't think that will be the case this season.
All right, we're on two running back unders, one receiving over. I'm going to add in another receiver, but we're going to go towards the under here. A player I'm a little surprised we have a prop on, to be honest with you. It is Chris Olave at 725 and a half receiving yards for New Orleans. Chris Olave, one of the most hyped rookies coming out of this class. He was in the top 5, certainly, and he comes off the board with a top 12 pick to New Orleans. But ultimately, there's a lot that could potentially set up poorly for Olave this year. They have a potential target monster in Michael Thomas. And again, Michael Thomas, a lot of this is going to come down to injury. If Michael Thomas is fully healthy, I think he is the bona fide number one in this offense. But they also brought in Jarvis Landry. If you have both Thomas and Landry healthy, it's hard for me to believe Chris Olave is more than like a 2B, a 2A in this offense. And he could be at worst the clear wide receiver 3. Then you look at the offense overall. I'm expecting them to be a little run heavy just based on having Jameis Winston under center, their recent trends. It speaks to me like this is a team that's still built to run through Kamara, assuming he's not suspended, and a strong offensive line. They got receivers to help Winston, but I don't know if that is still the way they prefer to play. I'm going under on this. Where are you at with Olave?
Yeah, to me, I would definitely be leaning the under as well. But to me, this is not one I would take strictly because I think if Michael Thomas does not end up playing, like there's a chance that maybe Michael Thomas misses half the season. Maybe he misses the whole season because he's Michael Thomas. Then if that is the case, then Chris Olave to me should hit over 725.5 receiving yards. It's all about Michael Thomas to me. Jarvis Landry is going to be a huge deterrent, whatever that word is, not the best English here for me at 11 a.m. as well.
That was good. That was good.
That was the correct word. All right. So, yeah, Jarvis Landry could really screw him over. So I would probably lean with the under. I would be fine taking the under, but I'm just not as confident as in the other picks because if Michael Thomas is not healthy, I should say, then Chris Olave should smash over 725 in my opinion.
See, this is one where I like to take it because of the uncertainty, and it has nothing to do with Olave. So I don't know that he's a lock to go over this if Thomas misses, because I think Jarvis still probably is the wide receiver 1. It's obviously a much worse line, but what do you think the odds are Michael Thomas plays? Because I think they're probably like 85, 90%.
Yeah, I think it's like 85, 90%, but the closer we get to August and the reports still aren't positive, right? There really is nothing that you can read. I think we read it off on the live stream the other day, the mock draft live stream, about how, he's rehabbing well, but he's not there yet. What does that mean? Why is he not showing up to the team's things? Even if he can't play, why is he not there? It's a little confusing to me. So that's why I'm kind of closer to the stay away. But I understand the reasoning as to why you would like it, because the line is going to move drastically if Michael Thomas is fully healthy or not healthy at all.
All right, let's go to our last one. It's the only passing prop we have on the board today that we're going to talk about. It's Kyler Murray over 4,500 passing yards this year. I think this is pretty low overall. I'm in agreement with all your picks today. Kyler Murray was basically at this mark last year, and he only played 14 games. He played a lot of them injured, and he's a player, if you isolate the games where he was healthy, and we never want to just like extrapolate a player's healthy games, but I think you can play for the purposes of this argument. He would have easily eclipsed this number. So to me, he's priced extremely low, and I think 4,000 is a pretty overall affordable price to get here for Kyler. I think this rises throughout the offseason.
Yeah. Now, the biggest argument against the reason why I like him is he's never actually passed for over 4,000 passing yards. He's had 3,722, 3,971, and then last year was 3,787. But like you said, if he was healthy last year, and with there now being 17 games, it's pretty easy to see Kyler Murray going over that number. I think this is the best receiving core that Kyler Murray has played with at the NFL level. And I understand they're going to be without DeAndre Hopkins. I almost said DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Hopkins for the beginning of the season. But at the end of the day, I think that Kyler Murray will still be able to overcome over 4,000 passing yards. And like I said, this is a really solid pass catching regime they have here. The core is really, really good. And James Conner is also a solid pass catching running back who could help elevate Kyler Murray as well. 4,000 just seems way too low. Again, he hasn't hit it yet, so maybe that's why PrizePicks is thinking, oh, set it at 4,000. People bite the over, but I love the over. I'm eating the over like Jameis Winston eats a W, so I expect Kyler to smash over 4,000 yards. Wouldn't be surprised if he was closer to 4,400 this season, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, you're just projecting health and a step forward, which he's already shown in small samples, so I am with you. That is 5 up, 5 down, 5 futures for you ahead of the NFL season. We will certainly be back more in the offseason as this gets bigger. The bets we have, they become more available. But leave a comment. Let us know where you guys are with some of these bets, who your favorite offseason future is at this point. Nick, any last words?
Yeah, let us know down below in the comment section what you guys are liking, and make sure you have a great rest of your guys' day. We will be back, like Gajewski said, probably soon talking about this again. I assume PrizePicks is going to keep giving us more and more players on here, so I'm very excited about the NFL season. It is only June, but it's gonna creep up on us. I mean, the NHL is almost over, the NBA is almost over, then you gotta watch fucking baseball. I'm not a baseball guy, so very excited for football soon.
For sure. He is Nick Lepri on Twitter at Notorious Fantasy. I am Matt Gajewski on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. You guys have a good one, and we will see you again next time.